Is this gonna be a one-taker? Let's go!
Good. We all feel good.
Stop! Never gets rusty!
What am I doing?
Into my kitchen! Producer Drew, can you fix all this?
And when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can crumple, yeet! Saw that going differently.
With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR.
Oh, I guess it is.
Yes, because boo and fart, respectfully. Leafs lose 4-1 to the Boston Bruins in Boston after a Stanley Cup celebration of their 2011 win. The Bruins out there, emotional, enjoying it, taking it all in. The Leafs in their locker room. And some of you might say, who cares? And I'm not even necessarily saying it's the wrong move. But the Boston Bruins, they noticed. They did notice. Steve, you're making that narrative up in your head. Am I? Trent Frederick, second intermission, talking to Mark Masters on the broadcast, and he was talking about how the Leafs were in their locker room. You're telling me that wasn't a factor? You're telling me it wasn't a motivator? And this is what I'm talking about with this team. Look, they won last night, great. 10-2 in their last 12 heading into this game, great. Now they're 10-3 in their last 13. 2 of those losses, pretty convincing losses, were against the team that they're very likely going to play in the first round, in the Boston Bruins. I mean, if the Bruins keep playing the Leafs, they'll keep moving up in the standings, and then maybe the Leafs will get the opportunity to play the team that beat them in the playoffs last year instead of in 2019, 18, and 13. You know, maybe they'll get the honor to do that. Listen, the first period was awful. It was absolutely awful. Started feisty. Jake McCabe getting up right into the face of Brad Marchand and Jake DeBrusk. Who doesn't like that? Yes, they go to the long penalty kill. Yes, it cost them. That was no good. It also didn't deter the Boston Bruins. And in the first period, when it came to that cross-check, the Leafs said, oh, okay. No, that's enough. That's enough for the feistiness. We have filled our feistiness quotient for this period. Brad Marchand, gosh, I feel bad for the guy. I really do. Because he's so accident prone. You know, just pinch him on the cheek, clumsily, you klutz, just banging shoulder into head of Matthew Knies. Just banging him right in the head. But it's okay. The Leafs learned from their lesson that they got against the Florida Panthers last year when Sam Bennett drove Matthew Knies' head into the ice and the Leafs did nothing. What they did was nothing. In the first period. Which caused me to get upset and fill my diaper. And, listen, to be fair, there's a lot of diapers in this house right now. Here's what I said, okay? Because this is going around and I wanted to talk about it, and this is me scrolling my phone here live on the fly. I said my feedback is the same as it always is against Boston. The Bruins are playing like a team who knows the team they're playing tonight might be playing them in the playoffs. The Leafs are happy to wear blue, get injured, and love it like a summer's breeze. Please care. So I said, please care. You know why? I was mad. Dude, they took out Matthew Knies again. What's the plan? Like, forget getting retribution. What's the plan? Up the left. What's the plan? Over the course of the game, we discovered there isn't one. They tried a big old bunch of stuff. There's less than 24 hours ahead of the trade deadline. So it was dismaying to me that there's no plan there. There's no plan. Like, forget the retribution. If it was an accident, it wasn't. It was on purpose. Marchand's a notoriously dirty player, and these things always follow him around. What are they supposed to do? So I was mad, and I ended it with please care. Mike Johnson, who was doing no, he wasn't. He was doing color commentary for this game for TSN. It's a great broadcast. Dude, I loved it at first intermission. They brought out a marching band. They brought out Doug Gilmour. It was great. He said, and this is fair, naive to suggest they don't care, in quotation marks, which is odd because that's not what he said. They may not play the way you'd like. It's difficult with a one-taker, but you're wrong to say they don't care. Before I continue, let me read what I said after that. Listen, I don't doubt that they care. They're professionals. Of course they care. But you watch these guys closely, so maybe you know better. But the Bruins consistently dig deeper, work harder, and get the result they want in this matchup. Where am I wrong? Like, I'm happy to learn. And I know I'm yelling at a camera right now and I can't hear any of the things you're saying. Where am I wrong? I'm happy to take feedback there. I'm sure they care. And for the rest of the game, they were outmatched and they lost. And I can stomach the Leafs getting outmatched and losing. I can stomach that. Wool wasn't the best. Second half of a back-to-back with travel. The Bruins are riding high off of that ceremony. Bunch of guys are battling the flu. I totally understand the Leafs losing this game, and it would have been a huge boost to confidence heading into the trade deadline if they had won this game, because I don't think a lot of us, as much as we wanted them to win, expected them to win. But that first period, because that's when I said it, after that first period, they were awful. And there was no pushback after the Matthew Knies thing. And those aren't my words, if you disagree with them, by the way. Those are the TSN panels. And I like the TSN panel. There wasn't any pushback. And then they went to commercial break and they came back right before the second period started. And they're pointing out, yeah, in the second period, O-Dog, Cheryl Pounder, Bob McKenzie, they're pointing out they need more pushback in the second period. What did we get? The thing that we asked for! Pushback, dude! Yes, they lost the game. It wasn't good. I would have rather them lose the game. But Tyler Bertuzzi politely asking Wotherspoon if he wants to go, waiting for his response, lets him take off his gloves, and then politely, in the most Canadian way possible, beat the wheels off of that young man. That was awesome. It was awesome. He didn't take the instigator, nothing, and oh my goodness. That is as decidedly as any Leaf has won a fight this season. There were hits. Listen, I'm not saying all you got to do is fight. I'm not saying that, but dude, Boston came out in that first period, and they're like, oh, okay, we're probably going to play these guys in the playoffs, and we're shot out of a cannon because of that ceremony. Let's beat the crap out of these guys. This is a strategy of winning teams, by the way. Did you catch Matthew Tkachuk a few weeks ago? He kind of gave away the game. He said on a broadcast, it was, I think, after a game, he said first 10 minutes, his line, what they discussed is for the first 10 minutes of the game, there's no puck. For the first 10 minutes of the game, there's no puck, which means they have no intention of playing hockey. The puck is the thing. How do you win a game? You have more goals than the other team. How do you get more goals? You score a goal. How do you score a goal? With the puck. They went out there with zero intention of playing hockey. They just went out there and beat the brakes, smashed their opponent. And it worked against Boston, of all teams. Boston, they wore them down. Did you watch game 1 of that series? Florida didn't have a prayer. But they hung around, and they're down 3-1 after 4 games. That's no good. They win game 5. They win game 6, and the Bruins couldn't hold on to the lead in game 7, and the Panthers win it in overtime. And what it comes down to with the trade deadline tomorrow, by the way, we're going to be covering it on SDPN all day. What it comes down to is they're going to be playing the Bruins or the Panthers. What's hilarious is if the Leafs lose enough games, they might get lucky enough to play like the Rangers in round 1. And I'm not saying the Rangers are like weak or anything, but they ain't the Panthers. They ain't the Bruins. I'm not saying they're worse, but stylistically they are clearly a better matchup for the Leafs. And maybe the Leafs can't beat any of them. Maybe they can beat all of them. We're not going to know until the games start. You can't tell me that you weren't a little dismayed by how the beginning of that game went. Brad Treliving's intentions are clear. He wants to give this team more snot. So far, his plan has just moved along smoothly. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get a right-hander in Lyubushkin. I'm going to go ahead and get Joel Edmondson, all that playoff experience. Monkey wrench in the whole situation. Matthew Knies may be out. Who knows? We don't officially know if it's his head. I'm pretty sure it's his head. Could be his shoulder. Might be worse if it's his shoulder. Might be worse if it's his head. We don't know. So what is he going to do tomorrow? I was about to say, what is he going to do to make this team better? But if Nyes is out, a guy who's been on the top line since like Christmas, before Christmas, it might not be about getting better. It might be about staying afloat. But you're already committed. You've been buying and buying and buying. You spent 2/3, a fifth, and a sixth on Lyubushkin and Edmondson, for crying out loud. You're committed now. You're buying. You're all in. You're preparing for a series against the Panthers, the Rangers, or this team that keeps killing you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And then the sun will come up tomorrow, and trade deadline's going to happen, and then there will be a game Saturday. And I'll react to that game Saturday. It was good to see the passion at the end of the game. Reeves out there, Domi scrapping, Jake McCabe scrapping, always, Tyler Bertuzzi scrapping. This team is not what it used to be in terms of they don't just shrink away from everything, and they did. Michael Bunting starts getting in people's face, and they're like, we don't want to have to deal with that. Like, that was the most pathetic thing ever. You don't chase guys like that away from your team for all his flaws and everything. I'm not saying they should have paid him that money. It's okay that they lost him, but the reasons behind it really got on my nerves. Anyway, one taker. We're done. We're done.
Hey, Drew, pause the video for a sec. Hey, Steve, it's Steve. And speaking of please care, you forgot to throw to Marley Minute and Nick Barden, you silly goose. So here's Nick Barden talking about Leafs prospects Ryan Twerberg and William Villeneuve. They could be a big part of the organization going forward, or tomorrow they could be dealt.
Ryan Twerberg brings a lot of energy to the Marlies lineup, and he's also a guy who can play all throughout it, whether it be the first, second, third, or fourth line, playing both wing and center this season in the AHL. Just to name off a few of his attributes, he's a very quick skater, he's strong, and he's a guy who, when going into the corners or going along the boards to get the puck, he's a hound, he's a dog. He will do anything to get the puck back for his own team. Twerberg did score 22 points in his first 20 games with the Marlies after returning from an injury, but he's since cooled off, only scoring just 2 points in his last 12 games. And that doesn't mean he's not a promising prospect for the future, because he is. If anything, this is a promising season for Twerberg, who I should mention is an AHL rookie. And although he might only have 2 points in his last 12 games, he does have 28 points in 37 games this year with the Marlies, which is really strong. Another player who seems to get lost in the shuffle a lot is 21-year-old defenseman William Villeneuve, who's having another strong season at the AHL level with the Marlies. He's continuing to develop this season as a defenseman. He has 21 points in 42 games this year, playing all throughout the Marlies defense corps. He's a guy who can move the puck. He's a guy who can get points on the power play. He's a guy who's not afraid to jump up in the rush and use his offensive abilities when needed. Villeneuve can give you a lot in the offensive end. There are some times where in the defensive end he struggles a little bit. I've seen him, though, over the course of this season and his rookie season last year, I've seen him improve in that a lot. I think there is another level that he needs to get to in terms of his defensive play, and I think he can get there. But he's a guy who can move the puck a lot. He's loved by his teammates. He's always happy on the ice, really trying to get the best out of both himself and his teammates. And he's a prospect who's interesting for the future of this Maple Leafs organization when you look at their defense.
Tomorrow's the trade deadline. We've been making so much content. So much content. Cade Weber is now in the Leafs organization. Made a video for that on this channel. Joel Edmondson is now a Leaf. That video is on this channel. Everything else, probably about a dozen trade deadline videos up there now, maybe more, up on SDPN. Tomorrow, there's going to be even more than that. We're going to have it up on the audio feeds too. We're going to have guests. It's going to be a great day. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Please care. Don't be bad. That's better. It's more respectful.